So let's talk here about dealing with doubt and how it shows up in our lives. And then let's also talk about how to overcome it. So when you think about doubt, it also shows up in the space of fear and in the space of worry. And I was watching somebody and they brought up something that was really good to me. They said, when I was worrying about something, this person said this. He said, I look back over at the things that I was worrying about. He said, 90% of the things that I was worrying about never happened. I want you to think about that. 90%. 90% of the things that I was worrying about, they never happened. The other 10% of the things that I was worrying about, there was nothing that I could do to change them. Therefore, I had no control over them. So that's all of the things that you were worrying about. And I want to take that apart a little bit. 90% never happened. So when you're dealing with doubt or when you're dealing with worrying about certain things, if you look at those things that you're doubting or worrying about, for the most part, 90% of them never happen. Most of them, let's just say that, most of them never even come to pass. The other 10% or the ones that do happen, you might not even have any control over them. So the question now is, why am I doubting or why am I worrying about things that either will not happen or I don't have any control over them in the first place? So a good way to deal with doubt is to actually look at the things that you're doubting, or maybe even look at the things that you're worrying about, and ask yourself this question. Look at the past and say, how many of these things actually come true? So when dealing with doubting yourself or worrying about certain things, I need you to actually look at these things and see that most of them don't happen. The doubts that you have, a lot of the doubts are keeping you from doing something that you're actually capable of doing. Look at this. When you're doubting, for the most part, you're saying in your mind, I can't do something, or I'm not going to be able to do something, or I'm going to stop myself from doing something because I don't believe that I can. I'm doubting it. So when you're doing that to yourself, in your own mind, you're telling yourself, I can't do this before you even actually step out and do it. So what I mean by that is you're telling yourself that you might not be able to do something in your mind before you actually stepped out and did it. So let's just say you actually stepped out and did something and maybe it went wrong or maybe it went bad or maybe it was difficult. Okay, I get that. I get that. Maybe there's some reason, maybe there's a legitimate reason that you can say to yourself, maybe this is going to be difficult. I'm still not saying you should stop. But in your mind, when you've never stepped out, in your mind, where you've never actually started to do something, you're stopping yourself in your mind, which is a space where you should be freer than any other space in this world. Your mind is the space where you're thinking of something where you never even stepped out to do it yet. That's a space where you should be creative. That's a space where you should be free. That's a space where you should not have a lot of doubt stopping you from doing something because it's a creative space for you to think of all the possibilities, for you to think of all the things you can actually do. How about this? How about this? There are a lot of negative thoughts that actually come in our minds when we're doing something that we've never done before or something we've never accomplished before. Why not at least give yourself this thought? What if this actually works out? Why not at least give yourself the thought of, what if this all works? So let's say you got 5 negative thoughts. I got it. Why don't you at least give yourself a 6th or a 7th thought to say, what if this actually works for me? I often tell this to people that I'm mentoring and I'm talking to. You got all these other thoughts in your pot. Like an example, like say you have a pot that you're cooking and you putting certain things in that pot. You got all these other thoughts in there. Why not at least throw in the actual thought of, what if this actually works out? So when dealing with doubt, one, I need you to look at seeing if these things actually have happened in the past. For the most part, they do not. Some stuff you don't even have control over. So those things you shouldn't worry about them anyway. When dealing with doubt, look at yourself and say, in my own mind, which should be the freest place and the freest space for me that there is, I'm telling myself in my own mind that I can't do this. So another way to deal with doubt is to replace that doubtful thought with another thought that says that you actually can do this. Confucius says there's a person who believes that he can, and there's a person who believes that he cannot. They're both right. Again, there's someone who thinks that they can, and there's someone who thinks that they cannot. They are both right. If you're saying, I can't do this, you're right. If you're saying, nobody like me has ever done this, you're right. If you're saying, I'll never be able to accomplish this, you're right. If you're saying to yourself, I can do this, you're right. If you're saying to yourself, I can actually accomplish this, you're right. If you're saying to yourself, I'm going to be successful at this, you are right. The person who believes he can is right. The person who believes that they cannot is right. What do you choose to believe? So I'm saying stop doubting. So if you're asking yourself the question, how can doubt actually help me? I would say that doubt helps you in the space of showing you somewhere in your life that you lack the proper information to actually help yourself. Let's grow.